I'm Larry Seaman, your host, and right now we're at Dodge Grain on Broadway in Salem, New Hampshire. And with me is
Kelly Clark
and
Buck Burke.
And they're going to be showing us around here today. But did you have anything that you wanted to talk about first?
Well, I wanted to welcome everyone to our wonderful facility that we've been here since around 1950, and we wanted to welcome all the residents of Salem to get to know Buck and I, the next generation. So we just want to show you our place.
Yeah.
I'd like to take you into the oldest part of our facility. It is the original store that we had, plus it's the old freight railroad station here in Salem during the early 1900s, which we ended up buying and purchasing, but we also still use the facility to unload our railroad cars of feed and grain, and back then it was 80-pound bags of grain. And Buck's going to tell you a little bit about our hayroom. Our hayroom is where we keep all of our hay, our Canadian hay, our Western alfalfa nowadays, but back in the day it was where they all turned around. So Buck's going to tell you a little bit about that too.
Yeah, this is the original office is about right here where I'm standing now.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, the original office back from 1950s. Yeah, 1950s. Where they would write out the handwritten tickets.
Oh yeah.
And give it to you like that, all cash business. Those were the days.
Yeah.
And this was the old freight railroad station here in Salem.
Yeah, where it the railroad track follows the building right behind. And the turnstile would be right in the hayroom back here. If you notice this wall behind me, this wasn't originally here. This is where the railroad carts would unload the grain, the oats, the feed right in, and they'd slide it on a turnstile right into here and spin it around, and we'd unload it all into the warehouse, more or less down near the office I just mentioned. But we have our straw right here, the golden orange right here, that's our straw. We have our Western alfalfa in the corner, a variety of different Timothy, grass hays, all very, very good quality from southern Canada in the Southwest for sure.
What should you look for in buying pellets?
When you're buying pellets, you want to look in basically, how your stove burns a pellet. So all stoves are different. My stove particularly burns softwood better than hardwood, but a lot of people burn hardwood for the longer burn. All of them have great BTUs. We've been at this location since the early 1950s, but we originated in 1926. My great-grandfather started a feed store in the old Methuen Square, and it was basically a poultry-driven store where they did poultry feeds. My grandfather brought it up here in the 1950s, where we saw the old railroad station upstairs. That was the whole store up there, and we serviced the racetracks here in New England, Rockingham Park. We serviced very greatly. Since then we've developed it into this, my father and my uncle have developed it into this retail facility where we have a storefront. So they've really brought it to the next generation, and we have, not only me and Buck, we also have a couple of my aunts and my cousins and my uncle and my father that also work here. So we are very much family driven to the day.
Has it really changed a lot other than the retail part of it?
Yeah, so the retail part of the store came about in the mid 80s, right around 83, 85, right around there is when my father and Terry gave the okay to have one of the guys like myself, a floor manager, start buying retail products and start filling the shelves that they were potentially buying from old broken down retail stores. So all these shelves are pretty old in here. We're a pretty old school business. So, but I myself, I'm fourth generation Burke. So I've been doing this my whole life. This is born and raised in this job. So I manage the floor downstairs here, where soup to nuts, the cat, the dog, the seeds, the potatoes, the everything I buy and supply the store with. My sister Kelly, like she mentioned earlier, she's in charge of the back part of the store, the delivery, the hay, the shavings, the farms. she does the bulk of that with my father and Terry or Terrence. So at this point in time, Terry's down at Suffolk Downs because we're still supplying that track with feed till this day. So we've been doing that for since about the 50s as well. So it's a very interesting run. But I've been working at this job since I was probably 13 years old. Recently being put into a managerial position, so it was really my my great grandfather and our Uncle Jack who originally started the business of Dodge Grain. Our Kelly and I's great grandfather got sick in his mid-50s and actually passed away, and my grandfather had to come back from college in California in the 50s and get the store back on its feet again, at least the poultry and feed side of the store. So that's very interesting. We have a lot of our employees are sometimes second and third generation here. So
that's great.
Yeah, we have a lot of families that have been working here for a long time. The Lilies and the Blodgetts. Very, very interesting. A lot of history here for sure.
Now, before they bought into it, do you know any of the history before that? What it was like?
What it was like prior to us owning it?
Yeah.
It was originally owned by a family called, well, their last name was Dodge. Right. And back in the early 1920s, Irish were blacklisted. But it was something that was not very common, Burke, as a name. So we kept the name Dodge's, and we continued to grow it with that name, just to keep the loyalty to the company and to the customers knowing the name. Yep, and we're privately owned, so we are one Dodge Grain. We're not related to the others that may have the same name, but we're kind of an old school company where we didn't really feel the need to, brand the name. Really, we're trying to brand our company now and brand our logo and things like that. But at this point, we just want